Hi guys, welcome to this Wednesday's episode of In the Pocket. There's not much news to talk about this week, granted, so this will probably be short and sweet. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Chris is not with us once again, so I'm gonna nominate myself as the host and Chris as the co-host, as I'm more loyal to the cause. So first off, we've got Michael Bisping has been teasing for a fight with DC after apparently DC's been kind of having the bit of joke on with him, saying he wants to fight him on air and off air, which Michael Bisping kind of responded and said, "Yeah, I fought 205 before, and I was 15-0, and let's do it." But this is only. It seems like depending on how the GSP fight goes, he said he will retire as well. But he said if he does decide to retire, he will literally, or there's nothing on the cards for him, because obviously there'd be the Robert Whittaker fight after. He would have DC just to piss everyone off in the world for not fighting at his own weight again. But yeah, probably be a good way to go out with a bang if he does lose the title, or even if he just does fight at a different weight and goes out with it. Yeah, I'd probably watch it. I think it's a bit of a joke fight again, but why not? We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. It's an interesting lineup. Well, it's an interesting fight at least. Yeah, so there's pretty much not that much going on at the minute. I've seen Paige Van Zandt's obviously injured, and she's had to pull out of the fight against Jessica Ai, which I'm quite disappointed at, because as much as Chris doesn't like Paige, I think she's kind of fit, so that's pretty much it. No, but yeah, so she's had loads of things. I think she's got a herniated disc, and I've heard she's had pink eye, blocked sinuses, 2 blocked ears, and whatever. And I know 1 blocked ear is fucking lethal, so that's pretty shit. But yeah, there's not that much news other than like Bellator, which I don't really follow, so I can't really speculate on. I know it's beat the UFC in ratings this week after UFC Japan, and rightly so. The fights looked a lot more entertaining on that card than they did on UFC Japan's card, and by the sounds of things, they had like more places to go, like from them for the fighters, as this one like had literally no growth for the fighters, like the UFC one, of course. Another thing that I've seen is Chuck Liddell has stated he might come back to fight, and a good fight he'd like to have to ease him back in, which is classed as a warm-up fight, is Chael Sonnen. And obviously Chael Sonnen's had a few digs at him on Twitter over the past year or whatever, and I don't know, like he probably doesn't have it and he'll have a lot of ring rust, but he was a beast in his own right. But I think the game's changed since his time. However, would I watch it? Absolutely. It'd be cool to see him come back. I can't really see it, but if he says, like, he literally said he's not going to say like 100% no to not fighting again, because I guess when you've got like it in your blood, I mean, you can't say it's like it's something you like doing, so it's not as if you're going to go, right, I'm hanging it up completely for a day. You can't rule out like a few percent chance that you might come back. That would be pretty good. A fight I'd like to see is Francis Ngannou, because he said that he'd knock Stipe Miocic out in under 3 rounds, which obviously Miocic is an absolute beast in his own right, and he's an absolute dominant force in his weight division. But I don't know, it seems like an interesting lineup. Well, not a lineup, but a fight again, and something where I'd like to see. It's a big slugfest, and I don't know, it's just interesting to see if the shit that Ngannou's talked, can he follow it through? Probably not, but I don't know. I don't really know who Stipe should fight next, so fucking throw it up there. But that'd be a good one. I'd watch that as well. Haven't really heard that much, to be fair. One other thing I've heard about Bisping is literally, I think it's probably just bullshit or probably some mind games, but he said that he's got spies watching GSP, which, I mean, it's quite a shit move if he does, but whether he does, probably not. But he's literally promised a first round knockout, but whether this is just Michael Bisping being Michael Bisping and chatting shit, which it probably is, and I wouldn't put my money on a first round knockout against GSP, definitely not. I think he's going to have all the power, and GSP is going to have a lot of work to do, and he's going to bite off more than he can chew, like in terms of just losing and wasting energy trying to get back up after Bisping's pinned him down, or trying to like use his weight against Bisping's. I think he's going to fall short in that perspective, but I don't see a first round knockout in the same sense either. Another thing I'd like to follow up on of last episode when I was talking about Tony Ferguson being a good contender to maybe like take the belt from McGregor, if that came about after this Nate Diaz fight, if this is actually in the works for December 30th, is I think Conor would probably struggle with Tony Ferguson more than a lot of people, because Tony Ferguson is hard to kind of fight against, he's hard to kind of plan against, because obviously with him being a freestyle fighter, he just kind of he's very hard to kind of like predict, because he's good on his feet, but he's also like amazing on the ground in my opinion. But I think where the problems start is for McGregor. You see, he always dominates when he's going into a fight with a longer reach, and he slip in and slip out, and he'll like dictate that play very well. But you see him against the opponents like it's got a longer reach than him, that's got like kind of opponents that's like a bit of gangly arms, taller, like a Nate Diaz. He obviously struggled against him because he's one of the only people he hasn't knocked out in, like, obviously most of his fights he gets knockouts. And then there was the Max Holloway, which he won like by miles, by a good margin in the fight, but yet again he didn't knock him out because he couldn't utilize his reach like he normally would against, like, say, a stumpier or stockier athlete like Chad Mendes or Jose Aldo. So that's why another reason I think Tony Ferguson can be a good like a bad omen for McGregor on that, because obviously he's got the longer arms, he's probably like a bigger build, and it's not a bigger build, but he's just kind of a gangly person, and Conor doesn't really, I don't think he does as well against them. I know in the Max Holloway fight obviously he had his ACL problem in the match, but and he still dominated the fight, but yeah, again, like, if it wasn't as dominant as any of his other performances, because all of them bar the Nate Diaz win has been knockouts. So that's another thing that I wanted to include this week, which I didn't last week, that I just wanted to kind of get in there, because that's another thing when you put like this video and the last one together on something that's not on McGregor's favour. But however, I was saying that McGregor looks like he's a harder hitter by quite a bit. He's obviously, his accuracy, you don't even need to talk about that, and his speed. He's probably the best counter puncher in the game. As much as people don't like to give McGregor credit, he wouldn't be at where he is just by shit talking. He is a good athlete in his own right. I know Chris doesn't like him and whatever else, but he has every right to be as arrogant as he wants. Because I mean, fighters are like that, and especially if you're at the top of the game, which he is, and he's got no like kind of like reason not to. I read a quote of what he said where he's like, well, you've got to be something, so why not choose like kind of being godlike? It wasn't that exactly, but it was something similar, and I think, yeah, fucking good on you kind of thing, because you don't have to just, like, because people want to put you down, obviously you don't have to listen to them. So I think, well, yeah, he's well within his right. He's achieved a shitload in a very short space of time. People might not like him because of his arrogance and whatever else, but people like that, you haven't seen like a lot of fights in, because it doesn't matter who you fight, like fucking and nobody, as long as they've won somebody before, or they'll have the ego. That's what you've got to be in the fight game. You've got to always think you're going to be alpha compared to everyone else. You can't ever look at yourself and doubt yourself or doubt your own ability. So yeah, he's got every right. If he wants to think like that, he can think like that, and him doing that, I think, is a tactical advantage to him with his confidence and his ego. And I think with him being so confident in his own abilities and proving it that many times, it probably puts a bit of doubt into his opponent, so it gets in their head a bit, especially the shit talking he does. So, however, I think Tony Ferguson's a good shit talker, but we'll have to see. I hope that fight does come off after the Diaz fight if McGregor wins. But other than that, I honestly don't think there's much to cover this week, other than I think Paige Van Zandt is doing physiotherapy, and she hopes to be returned by the end of the year, but there's literally fuck all to cover, because it's not as if there's any fights happening straight away and whatever else. So, and I'm pretty sure Chris would want to review them with us if we get the chance. So there's not really much to like kind of go over. I would like to see Bisping stay and fight Robert Whittaker, but even if well, if he wins JSP, which I think he will, but I don't know. I can't see him staying. I think he was supposed to go out on a bang. I think Robert Whittaker poses a threat to the title, and at least if he goes out, people can't say he hasn't defended his title because he will have twice. So I mean, why not? If he thinks it's time to go, and he is an aging athlete, but he still has the fight in him, like to kind of have the match with Robert Whittaker. But he might just don't want to go out on the loss kind of thing, and want to go out as the reigning champion, so it goes down in history that way. But yeah, I'd like to see the DC fight, maybe like a non-title contest, up to DC's weight, or DC's, or the meet in between, because if it was DC's weight, obviously it would be a title contest. If that was the case, I would like to see it be a title fight at 205, rather than Bisping's weight. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this week. But thank you for tuning in once again, guys. Hopefully we'll have this issue sorted, and we'll have the visuals back and Chris back, and it'll be proper conversations rather than just a weekly review with my boring ass self. I hope I've covered a bit. Whatever I haven't, I'm sure we'll add in, and the quality will be better on Sunday when we do the second video of the week. But yeah, thank you for tuning in again. Please like and subscribe if you don't mind, because there will be some kind of death threat. I just can't think of one at the top of my head right now. But yeah, thank you, and we'd appreciate shares as well. Thank you. See you later.